report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Heather D. Tune in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Tune in to the fish report.
And welcome, everyone, to another Fish Report Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig Fissinger, and sitting in tonight for the vacationing Ken Francis is Brandon Coverman. We'll look forward to Ken coming back next week. Brandon, nice enough to sit in his chair tonight. Back in our sound room, it's TK and Heavy D back for the first time in, I think, months. We're looking forward to talking to them a little bit later in the show. And out in Studio R, your sidekick, Kernsy's out there. We're going to talk to him here in just a minute. But, Kobe, welcome to the big studio.
Thanks for having me. I love the upgrade.
All right, well, listen, we're going to talk a lot of hoops tonight. Going to talk a lot of SCAL like we always like to do. Last week we went over to the Cross County Conference, talked some girls basketball with Newton Star over there, Tatum McBride. Tonight we're going to go back over to the CCC, this time talk some boys basketball over in Arcanum, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to stay in the Cross County Conference, and tonight's interview is with Arcanum boys coach Marcus Bixler. He is in his fourth season, and he just led his Arcanum Trojans to a win over the Russia Raiders last Saturday night.
Yeah, we'll get to all that here in the second half of the show. Before we do that, though, we have our weekly poll question, and tonight's poll question, appropriately enough, has to do with the Cross County Conference. Yeah,
our poll question tonight has, which CCC boys game are you looking forward to this Friday? Is it Arcanum at Miami East, Franklin Monroe at Bethel, or Tri-Village at Newton, or Twin Valley South at National Trail?
Yeah, all big CCC games there, and a lot of implications on a couple of those games. So we'll look forward to talking about that with a coach here a little bit later. If you're watching us on the Fish Report Live page on your computer or on your phone, you can scroll down, help us answer tonight's poll question, and check the results. If you happen to be watching us on NK Telco Cable TV, we're going to go back to TK for those results at the end of the show. All right, Kobe, let's get things started, and I want to talk a little girls, SCAL girls. I know you and Kearns got a chance last night to actually call that game at the Claire C. Naveau Gymnasium. But before we bring Kearns in to talk about that game and more, let's take a quick look at the SCAL girls standings and see where we're at right now.
Yeah, right now, Laramie at the top of the league standings right now at 3-0. Russia trailing right behind him at 2-0, but they have a perfect record of 6-0 right now. Bokkens with one league loss right now to Laramie sits at 2-1. Anna with also a league loss to Laramie sitting at 2-1. Jackson off to a bit of a slow start at 0-2, and Fairlawn and Houston are sitting at 0-2 and 0-3 respectively.
All right, we see those big games coming up on Saturday. We're going to talk about those in just a second, but let's go out to Studio R and bring in Kearns out there. I want to talk to him about SCAL girls. I know you guys spend your weeks with us talking about SCAL girls, kind of experts on it, but there he is. Daniel, we're talking SCAL girls, and a lot of big games took place this past week in the SCAL. We want to find out what we learned. So let's start out on Monday night. We had Tip City that they were at Fort Laramie and won pretty easily, 59-41 in that game. Thoughts on that game?
Yeah, Fort Laramie's inexperience might have shown a little bit against a great Tip City team. You know, they always have a great girl. I believe they have an Iowa State commit on their team, so, you know, that's kind of tough to go as with sophomores out on the court, but they held their ground. But yeah, Tip City ran away with it, and also they have a 4-2 record overall with 2 early losses, but those losses were against 2 great teams as the Minster Wildcats and Tip City, so their record might show a little weakness right now, but they're still a great team.
Yeah, I think Fort Laramie going out of their way to schedule Tip City is kind of like what the College Football Playoff Committee would say. They credit you for scheduling a hard opponent. Tip City has Allison Mater and Madison Frederick, who's committed to Iowa State. They both put up over 20 points, and it's a good, rich Division II school with a lot of history. So I don't think Laramie can take away much negative from this game, but a learning experience. And they also lost to Minster, which is a tough team to beat. I think will win the D4 regional, but it's going to be hard for Laramie to beat those teams with the youth they have right now. But come tournament time, this team's going to be very dangerous.
Yeah, well, Coach Siegel came out after that game and said that they lost because of height and speed. And you know, you mentioned the Minster game. That was the exact problem they had in that Minster game, guys, was height and speed. And as I look at their schedule, trying to look at teams that present that same combination of problems, I see the Versailles Tigers, of course. That's going to be a problem for Laramie. They've got the height and speed. Maybe Miami East could present a problem with that same combination. But if that's truly what the Laramie's downfall is, I don't really see anybody else on that schedule that will give them that same problem. You know, you look at the Russia Raiders. I know we like them. They certainly have the height with Larissa Poling. Cameo Wilson's is another one that's tall. But I don't know if Russia has that speed right now and that same combination that she's referring to with teams like Tip City and Minster and teams like that. You know, time will tell as the season goes on. But, you know, I think Laramie, looking at their schedule, I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, and Laramie, Abby Holdhouse actually had 23 points in that game against Tip City. So she had a real good game. So she's her go-to post girl as of now, but they don't have much height other than Abby.
Yeah, they got a plethora of girls that can score with her, that's for sure. Guys, let's move ahead. Another game on Monday night was Tri-Village at Houston. Tri-Village won that game pretty easily, 63-36. Thoughts on that one?
Well, Tri-Village has got a lot of young people, kind of like Laramie, coming off a district championship last year, won, I believe 22 games. They got a young girl named Trisha Porter, and they also got Lisa Seiler. And I think Allie Downing's sister also plays there. Allie Downing playing at D2 Belmont Abbey down in North Carolina. And they're a really young team, but this is a team that I believe will win the districts this year. They'll be back in the regionals. And I think, like Laramie, they got a lot of upside to look forward to in the years to come because they're really young. I know Russia added them on the schedule this year. It'll be a very good game for them to play. And I'm excited for them because they're playing at Clare C this year. Houston struggling a bit. I watched them play. Not a whole lot of talent there. They're in a rebuilding process there.
Yeah, I agree. Tri-Village, they're always a great team. And with Houston, I saw them play earlier against Russia in the season, and I think they just can't find their number one scorer to go to. They have trouble scoring sometimes. And also on defense, they're pretty weak. So with that, I see them kind of having maybe a rebuilding year, and also with Tri-Village being so good. It was a pretty lopsided win, obviously, and Tri-Village is going to have a great year.
Yeah, TV is a very good team, guys. And one girl I don't think you mentioned was Emma Prince is on that team as well. A junior. Those other two girls, the Downing girl and the Seiler girl, are actually sophomores. I don't agree with you that they're going to get to the regionals this year. Perhaps they can as the season goes on. I think maybe next year is the year they're going to make a deep tournament run, so we'll see about that. Houston, I got to admit, I'm a little shocked. I'm a little shocked that they're 0-7 right now. They got the Monier girls, the sisters. I kind of thought they'd be a little bit better, but to their credit, they have played a pretty tough schedule. They lost to a good Covington team by 4 points. I think they're going to I think they're going to be all right. I believe they have Fairlawn this Saturday, so I think they get a win there, maybe get some of their confidence back. But a little shocked at their record right now, but I think they'll turn that around as the season goes.
I have to agree with that. They got some scores, but we'll see what happens. I think they can work the kinks out. All
right, guys. Well, let's move ahead to Tuesday night, and there was three teams with SCAL, or 3 games with SCAL teams involved. One of those was Ridgemont at Botkins. Botkins won that one 64-51. You guys have talked about the Trojans a little bit, the Lady Trojans, in the weeks past. What do you think about that result? What you learn anything from that game?
A little surprised, honestly. They're off to a little slower start. I think they're relying way too much on Sarah Bergman and Paige Lane. They're going to have some other girls step up. Like Tara Greavy, I know she had 11 points last night against Ridgemont. But they're going to have some other girls do the scoring besides Lane and Bergman. Maybe just with some seniors. I don't think people realize how much the seniors actually contributed Botkins last year. So this can't all fall on Bergman or Lane. Someone's going to have to step up if they want to go in the direction they can go in.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need more scoring from other people on the team. They can't just rely on Bergman. Like you said before, she might be taking some of the heat from the team with their slow start. But, yeah, they're going to have to look to Greavy on the wing to get more points. And just like Jackson has, Olivia Clark's their main scorer, and if you shut her down, they really can't have any offense. So that might be some of the problems that they're having. They're going to have to look for some more girls to step up and score.
Well, guys, you're kind of giving Botkins a little bit of a hard time here. They are 5-1 now. I mean, other than the 31-point butt kicking they took from Fort Laramie, they are 5-1, I believe. We know about Bergman, we know about Lane. You mentioned Greavy too. I'm excited about Grace Holman. I think there's another girl that's she's athletic. I think there's another girl that can score for them. So I think Botkins is all right. They're going to get challenged here. I know soon enough when as they get to the whole league and they get to Russia and everything, they play Laramie, and as the SCAL works, you got to play everybody twice, so it's going to be a tough season for them. But I think Botkin's they've done pretty good so far at 5-1. Again, that one loss to Laramie. But let's jump ahead now. Riverside played Jackson Center last night. Guys got a chance to see Jackson Center last Saturday against Russia, but JC just pulls this one out 40-38. What do you think about the Tigers so far?
Actually, another shocker is Olivia Clark's off to a little bit of a slow start. She didn't have a field goal against Russia. She wasn't even their leading scorer last night against Riverside. Caitlin Sosby led them in scoring the past 2 times. And Kennedy Reese, primarily on-ball defender, very good defender, wasn't really relied on for scoring in their past 2 trips to the state Final Four. She's going to have to be the catalyst of the offense and get it going a little more if the Jackson Center wants to see a little more success. I still think they have potential to get to the districts.
They lost a great senior class last year with Cassie Francis, and some of those girls might not realize that they need to start stepping up more and creating more plays and start scoring and not rely it so much on Olivia Clark like they have earlier in the season. But off to a slow start, 2-3, but I definitely can see them bouncing back from that and still having a great season.
Yeah, I didn't think Jackson Center would be 2-3 right now, and I especially didn't think they would get blown out by Russia and Anna like they did. So when you got a 6'1", 6'2" girl, whatever she is over there in Olivia Clark, and a very good point guard in Kennedy Reese, I kind of thought they'd be a little better than they are right now. But they do play Botkins this Saturday. I'm very interested in that game. I think that's the top game that I'd like to see this weekend. If they can beat Botkins, then I'm a believer. If they don't beat Botkins, I think they could be in for a long season, guys.
I'd have to agree.
And one more to get to, and that is the game you guys called last night, New Knoxville at Russia. I know you know a lot about the Lady Raiders, been following them all season. Thoughts on that game?
New Knoxville came into the game 2-3. They had a lot of youth, no seniors on the team, played a bunch of juniors and sophomores. But what I took away from that game is the Raider defense is really good. They haven't allowed a team, I think, over 35 points, have been giving up an average of 30.3 points a game. And Whitney Plyman and Jenna Cardagna are averaging 6 steals a game. Their perimeter defense is really good, and they got a shot blocker in Larissa Poling inside who's averaging about 2 blocks a game. And their defense is really good, but they're going to be a little more battle-tested here with Versailles, Minster, and Laramie in a 3 or 4 game stretch here down here in December as we wind down to the new year. So I think that those games are going to show the Lady Raiders' true colors, and so I think you're going to see the great players like Courtney Pranger, Marissa Meyering, Cammie McEldowney. That's going to show who the Lady Raiders are.
Well, Daniel, they got a big game this Saturday against Anna, don't they?
Yeah, that's going to be a really fun one. Rushia's sitting at 2-0 in the league, and Anna's at 2-1. That'll keep the Raiders. That'll test their to stay undefeated and stay up there with Laramie to advance to 3-0 and be tied at first place. And with Anna, they had kind of a down year last year, but with girls like Bria Cuck and Taylor Kaufman and Macy Ruenkamp, Anna's going to come in and want to knock off Russia and get back into the race for the SEAL title.
All right, good stuff there, Kearns and Covey on girls basketball. And thanks for that, Kearns. Thanks for the report there. Let's change gears, though, here a little bit, Covey. Talk some SCAL boys just real quick. We got just a minute here or so. Got some games coming up here Friday, 3 big league games. And, Russia's got the off night. They're going to be playing Saturday at Riverside. Do want to talk about that Fort Laramie at Fairlawn game. The Redskins played Franklin Monroe this week. A lot of people said that was going to be a big game. I didn't think Franklin Monroe was such a big game. They were, I think, 3-1 coming in that game and actually beat an 0-3 Houston team last Saturday. That was a pretty close game. So I didn't think Franklin Monroe was as good as maybe some people thought they were. But it's going to be interesting. I said this last week. I'll say it again. Laramie's got these first, 5 or 6 games at home, and then they got that brutal schedule where they go to St. Henry, I believe, next Saturday night. They go to Jackson Center. They go to Bethel. They got Russia at home, and then they go to Versailles. We're going to find out how good the Redskins are when they hit that stretch, won't we?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to last year, how Laramie started off. They started off 8-0, I believe, last year, and that schedule down the end was a little brutal for them, and they lost some games. They didn't even win league last year, but they're going to come, I think, towards the end of the season, hit a hot streak, and I think they're going to actually dominate Fairlawn in this game. I'm a little surprised Fairlawn. I don't think they're as good as I expected them to be this year. They got some youth with the Piper twins, the freshmen who are going to be fantastic players by the time they finish up their careers there. But I think Luke Hickman and Drew Brodegum need to take initiative and really lead this Fairlawn team if they want to get it out of the sectionals this year.
All right. Well, yeah, I think Laramie wins that one easily. I like the play of Braun. I like to play Tyler Siegel right now. I think Laramie wins that one easily, and The other two games, we've got Houston at Botkins, Jackson Center at Anna. The only thing I really care about there is how many points Wyatt Bensman's going to score. Is he going to score another 30-point night, or is he going to get 4 like he did against, New Bremen, I think? So Scott Elkert's probably going to try to hold him down as much as possible.
Yeah, I don't even know if Anna could score 30 points with the way Jackson Center slows it down. But it's going to be a very close game. I believe Anna will win. Jackson kept it close with Russia. No matter what Scott Elkert has thrown at him, he makes it a close game every year, no matter what talent he has. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Rocket Juice is going to pull it out and win it here.
All right, and those are the 3 big SCAL boys games on Friday night. Again, Russia with the off night playing at Riverside on Saturday. We'll be anxious to see how that one turns out as well. We're going to take a short break, but stay right there. When we come back, we're going to talk some more boys basketball, including that interview with Arcanum coach Marcus Bixler. And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, we were talking SCAL girls and boys basketball. Going to change gears here now a little bit and talk CCC basketball. And last week, as we said, Brandon, we talked girls basketball. Went over there to Newton, talked to Tatum McBride. Tonight, we're going to talk a little boys heading to Arcanum. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at those standings and see where we're at. It's early, but let's see where we're at in the CCC.
Yeah, the Bethel Bees are leading right now on the CCC boys basketball standing. They were my pick to win the CCC this year. They got Ryan Rose, who's playing really good in place of Caleb South, this reigning CCC player of the year, who's out with an injury right now. Trailing right behind him is a traditionally rich Miami East team, Franklin Monroe team that just fell to Laramie the other night with possible D1 prospect Ethan Conley, and then National Trail, who had about a 20-point win over Arcanum Friday night, was at 1-0 right now. Tri-County North and Sonia, a team that I think could be a surprise in Division 4 this year, sitting at 1-1. Covington, Tri-Village with their new coach Mackenzie Perry, hasn't played a league game yet, off to a 2-1 start. Arcanum right there, and Bradford, Twin Valley South, Mississinawa, and Newton round out the bottom.
All right, well, we see Arcanum right there in the middle of the pack, and, of course, we got to see them up close last Saturday at their place. One big reason for their success is their coach, who's been there the last 4 years now. He's Marcus Bixler. We're happy to have him live on the phone right now. Coach, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, guys, happy to be here. Long time, first time, so I'm excited to call into the Fish Report.
All right, happy to hear that. Well, listen, I just got to your gym, believe it or not, for the first time ever last Saturday, and Coach, I'm serious when I say this. It's the best high school gym I've ever been to. It's got good size, but you're still close to the floor. You got that kind of that intimate feel yet. You know, I like your benches. I like your score table. That pep band section has got to have any band director drooling. But Coach, I love it. Do you ever get comments like that?
You know, we're fortunate. We do. We get a lot of great comments about the gym, and I think you nailed it when you said I think the size is perfect. It's still a very loud gym, especially on big conference nights and things like that. It has that intimate feel, but yet, it's modern and it's nice, and that's kind of a hats off to our custodial crew and our athletic director, Brian Sprata. They spend a lot of time in there making sure it's in tip-top shape, and it's a great place to play, and our guys have it very lucky in terms of that.
Well, listen, let's talk about that Russia game a little bit, and certainly that was the tale of two halves there. That first half, you go in the locker room with 7 points, and then you come out and you score like 34 in the second half to get the win. I got to know, what did you say to your players at halftime to change the momentum of that?
Well, we kind of started our halftime speech with, we were probably fortunate to be down just 15. It was a half that we didn't play real well, especially on the offensive end, and it took some adjusting for us. Russia does a good job. They get out and they deny, they pressure the ball, and we did not handle that well early on. And as a result, we took a lot of real quick shots, a lot of forced shots, and just things that we weren't going to be successful with. So we spent most of our halftime not really doing a lot of X's and O's, but just talking about having the ability to be strong with the basketball, to be patient, to be able to move through some multiple reversals of the basketball, and just make them work for longer than the 10 or 15 seconds that they had to work per possession in the first half. And then on the other end of the floor, we were fortunate. We were able to play a little bit more zone the second half. We played probably 90% zone in the second half, which is more zone than I think we played the last 3 years I've been there. So just to mix up and get some different looks, and we kind of got into a flow a little bit more. We called a lot fewer sets the second half. I think I got a little set crazy the first half and kind of killed some of our flow. And we kind of diagnosed that at halftime. We looked at our possession chart, and our assistant coaches did a good job. They diagram every set that we run, each possession, and then what our results were. And we kind of looked at it, and it's like, whoa, we ran way too many sets there, and it kind of killed our flow. So we were a little bit more patient the second half, got ourselves some good looks. I think we were right around 56, 57% the second half, and then that makes a world of difference. You get some stops on the other end.
Hi, Coach. This is Brandon Coverman. Coming into the season, you had a couple ACL injuries to a couple of your juniors, one of them being Wade Meeks. So your depth was going to be tested, but do you run your offense and defense based on your personnel, or do you just have the kids adapt to what you like to run?
Hey, Brandon, I'm going to comment. You do an excellent job on your SCAL Girls Review every week. Keep up the good work and the hard work. I know it's not easy, but you do an excellent job there. No, with the ACL injuries, we were fortunate. We had some personnel changes. We got a little taller, a little longer in the off season, and we really took that 30-day down period last spring to kind of diagnose what we wanted to do moving forward. Our summer program is really big for our guys, and we want to have things ready that when we start up our 4-man individuals in the spring, we know exactly what we have in mind, and then we can break down our individual work based on what we want to try to do both offensively and defensively. So we really attacked that starting right in the 1st of April, working on those things. And we were able to, kind of tailor-made what we did for this group of kids. We had a really, really good summer and thought we were really starting to make a transition into being a solid basketball squad. Then football comes around. We had the 2 guards go down with ACL injuries. And it changes a little bit of what we've done, I think especially defensively. It's allowed us to be a little more flexible defensively. If you looked at our lineup, all of our guys are basically between 6'1" and 6'3", and you can do some different things when you got a group of guys like that. But I'm proud of our guys. It's not been an easy adjustment, moving some guys around and expanding roles for our guys. But they've done an excellent job. And when you got 16 healthy bodies, night in and night out in practice, we all practice together. So these guys are all hearing the same thing come out of my mouth or other coach's mouth, and then when it's time for the next guy to come up, we're pretty confident they understand and know what's going on, and they're going to do everything they can to execute. And we've really, I couldn't be more proud of how we've started the season, considering kind of things that we've gone through and the progress that guys have made in expanding their roles.
One of the reasons you've been so successful so far this year is the play of your sophomore Carter Gray, who I heard a lot about before he even came into high school. He's led you in scoring in, I think, all of your games so far. What makes him so successful? Well,
he's you have your definition of a gym rat, and he's probably a gym rat times 10. He's a kid that is constantly in there working on his game, and he was able to really take his game, I think, so far early on in the season. He's averaged just over 18 for us, and he's able to take it to the next level. Last year as a freshman, he tied the Arcanum school record for threes in a season with 62 made. And this year we've asked him to expand what he's been able to do. And we've worked really hard on him putting the ball on the floor, being able to get to the rim. He utilizes a pull-up both directions, and there's just not a lot of kids in the area that can go both ways, pull up and go both ways and finish. And when you put that on top of his already ability to shoot the basketball, he's become a really, really hard guard. And I think one of the neat things for him is I think he's still scratching the surface of what he has the ability to do. He's a good athlete, and he's going to continue to grow and get stronger. And, I think the weight room and doing those things with agility, quickness, and strength are just going to make him that much tougher to guard as he goes through the next 2.5 years.
All right, Coach, I read a preview on your team before the season started, and you said our goals are defined on a game-by-game basis on both ends of the floor. Can you give me an example of that?
Oh, absolutely. So we always have we do a big goal board, an offensive, defensive goal board, and we track 6 or 7 things in each category. We do like an offensive efficiency, a defensive efficiency. We talk about what we want to do in terms of points in the paint, what we want to do at the free throw line, things like that. But then we also have our specific points of emphasis. And, it's 4 or 5 points of emphasis on each end of the floor that's kind of tailor-made to what is it, what do we have to do to be successful on any particular night. So, like, if you go back to Saturday night, our biggest thing is, Rushie's offense, they do a good job of getting the ball to the block and scoring in the paint. And we knew we had to defend the post, and I know your cohort, Mr. Kearns, he's a tough guard down there. He's athletic, a lefty, and we knew that we had to be able to compete in the post and defend the post, and at the same time, you still got to be able to close out the shooters. So it's like 2 of our big goals that night were, points in the paint, being able to defend the post. I think Rushie outscored us by 2, which is, it's been better for us than what it has each of the last 2 years we played them. And I thought we competed inside first, and that really helped us out. We were able to close out some shooters. I think we helped 4 made threes, which is usually right at our goal. So if you can do those things, defend the paint and defend the three-point line, you're going to give yourselves a chance, and that's one of the things that kind of our focus, for example, on Saturday night was.
Coach, you have a big game coming up here on Friday night, of course, and that's against 4-0 Miami East. They've had a big overtime win against, I believe, Division II Graham last weekend. Do you know anything about Miami East this early in the season yet?
Yeah, we do. We're fortunate. We've had guys out 3 of their 4 games so far, and have a good idea of what they're going to do. And Alan does a great job with whatever cast that he has. He mixes things up to get it, to get them to perform at a high level. But you're going to see their 1-2-2 base zone, and they got some athletic guards, and they got 3 athletic guards to start. And they bring 2 more in that are athletes as well, and they're just really good at getting deflections, getting tip passes, causing some frustration and some turnovers in the half-court set, and then they'll extend you out into a 1-3-1 half-court, a 2-2-1. They'll even come out and play diamond a lot, especially at the start of games. And you have to show the ability that you can handle all of those things because you're going to see them at some point in time throughout those 32 minutes. And then on the other end of the floor, our motto kind of all week's been, defend 40, with the idea that, it's not going to shock me that we're going to see some possessions if we can be disciplined defensively that are going to last 20, 30, 40 seconds long. And they kind of wait for you to make that mistake, and as soon as you make that mistake, they're going to kind of pounce on it. But they got some athletic guards that can get to the rim, that can knock down shots. We got another Kearns kid we're going to face Friday night. He's a solid post player. He faces you up. He's a big, strong kid. He can get to the rim and do some things like that. So we have to be really disciplined on the defensive end. We can't have many mental slips or mental gaffes. And then offensively, we have to be in an attacking mode. I think if we sit outside and settle for jump shots all night, then it's going to end up being a long night for us. So I think if we can be aggressive on the offensive end and disciplined defensively, I think we can give ourselves an opportunity come fourth quarter.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a good one. We'll certainly be keeping our eyes on it over here in SCAL country. Hey, one more question before we let you go. I want to go back real quick to that Rushi game, and some of our viewers may or may not know this, but the guy you were coaching against last Saturday also happens to be your brother-in-law, and that is Spencer Cadonier. So I got to know, Coach, after the game was over, did you pick up the phone? Did you send a text? Did you maybe rub it in a little bit, or are you going to save that one for the Cadonier Christmas party coming up here in a couple weeks?
Now, Craig, I can tell you this: I'm too smart to go rubbing it in or making any phone calls or text messages. They've gotten us each of the last 2 years, and it's a fun night to have the opportunity to coach against them and to get to play against Rushi. But at the same time, it's a little. You get a little on edge, I think, before the game compared to maybe some other games. And it's important and it's fun. But I can tell you this: I'd much rather have him coaching with me like he did at Franklin Road than being on the opposite sidelines. But no, I'm gonna save it. I can tell you, I will walk into Don and Barb's house on Christmas Eve with a big smile on my face.
I bet you will. That's for sure. Well, listen, Coach, great stuff. Want to say good luck to you on Friday night against Miami East, the rest of the season, of course. And thanks for joining us tonight on the show.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on, and take care and have a happy holidays.
All right. That was the head coach of the Arcanum Trojans there, Marcus Bixler, and first time we've ever had him on the show. Good talking to him. Do want to go back to that sound room real quick, guys. Can we get back there before we close things up tonight? And there is TK and Heavy D. Haven't seen those guys together for a number of weeks here. And guys, you know what's coming up this weekend. It's the big annual Fish Report Christmas party, and it's going to be Covey's first time here. Heavy D, you got any kind of advice or tips or any warnings for him here? You know, I know a lot of what happens there every year is probably not stuff we can talk about on this show, but what do you think?
Well, I know I look forward to the Fish Report Christmas party every year. We get the spouses there, and I checked the cooler out. It was full as of tonight, the little mini fridge, so looks like things are chilling up nice. Covey, I know you're playing CYO basketball and you're under contract, so you got to keep your nose clean. All I can tell you is keep your drink covered. Somebody might slip a Mickey in it.
We don't want those kind of problems,
Nope.
that's for sure. And TK, we missed you the last couple weeks. Someone told me you were down in Mexico running with the bulls or riding bulls, or I never got any pictures or videos. So we're glad to have you back, and you're in one piece. So any bull riding though down there?
No bull riding. Didn't watch any bull fights or anything. We were right by the stadium, but I guess it's off season right now. All they're doing down there is playing soccer, so no special stories about any of that. Just I survived, stayed away from the water, and I got back.
Well, that's good. We're glad to have you back. Hey, listen, hang in there. We got one more thing to get to, and that is tonight's poll question. So, Kobe, why don't you read that to our viewers one more time? We'll have TK check the results.
Yeah, well, our poll question again is, which CCC boys game are you looking forward to this Friday? Arcanum at Miami East, Franklin Monroe at Bethel, Tri-Village at Newton, Twin Valley South at National Trail.
What do you got, TK?
And we had a lot of Arcanum fans watching, and that is the game that everybody's looking forward to, Arcanum at Miami East. And real quick, I want to take a shout out to our fans and viewers in Brooklyn, New York. Thanks for tuning in tonight out there on the East Coast.
Telemetrics are hitting in Brooklyn, New York, huh?
That's right.
Good stuff there, guys. All right, listen, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. We do want to say special thanks to our guest, Marcus Bixler, for joining us on the show tonight. Ken will be back next week. TK Heavy D will be back. Covey and Kearns out in Studio R. So until then, have a great rest of the week, and good night, everyone.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull when you tune in to the fish report.